Welcome to Boho Punks. Today I'm going to be sharing my portion of this wonderful collab with my fellow artist Defu Doll. Boho Punks, Starlight Dream Dolls, and Electric Bunny VT. Today I'm going to be using Porter Geiss. I'm removing his face paint with 100% acetone. He's very hard to get your hands on, but he's not considered rare. He actually has really good hair, but we're gonna go ahead and take that off along with his face paint. His hair is nice, but it has to go. And with that all removed, let's get the plugs. I used some heat to pop off his head and then scrape out the plugs from the inside with tweezers. He didn't have a lot of glue. Purple is going to be his new hair color. I brushed both ends of the yarn and kept the center to see if it would make it better for me as far as rerouting, and it did make it a little better. And it also made pre-portioned out plugs. I'm going to make him a goddess boy, so he needs his glitter. No goddesses without their shimmer. So we're going across the body with light blushing and a lot of micro powder in the color rose. Now, don't get distracted by the really pale blushing. I didn't record me doing it because I hated it, and I actually ended up taking it off. So let's go ahead and put the whites of his eyes. I'm using Sharpie's new acrylic markers. I actually like them a lot, so I'm gonna get some more for sure in different colors. I started out with just black and white to see if it would hold up against the other brands. Now using some pearl beads, and I think it's a size 10, and we're gonna make a string neck piece. I didn't take the time to count the beads. I feel like when they're this size, they're very small and they're not equal in size perfectly. So I did it by where it ended versus how many beads. Continuing my design with some slightly bigger beads and one big translucent iridescent bead. Now you can kind of see the design coming together. And I'll just continue draping and designing this neck piece. And I'll be able to take it off the model and put it onto Porter before I attach his head. Okay. So his body's background. So now that he's dried from his Mr. Super Clear layers, I put about 4 layers, and it still keeps a shimmer, but it does dull it quite a bit compared to what it was. But that's okay. That's what I was going for. Now I made a rough pattern, and I'm just going to follow the guidelines of the body in order to make it fit to the body. I'm leaving plenty of fabric for whoever buys the doll. If they want to make it a removable outfit, they can. But I'm gonna make it a non-removable outfit for now. Now I'm sewing all the pieces together. I'm going to top stitch the seams down, which will give the appearance of ribbing like a true corset. Make sure that if you're enjoying this video to give me a like and subscribe. Click the bell notification so that you'll be notified every time I upload. And then I picked out this lace, and we're going to top stitch all the edges so that they don't flip up as the doll moves. And as always, don't forget to leave a comment about what you would like to see me make. The sky's the limit. I used pattern shears to cut this strip of white fabric, in order to give a unique design when I pleat it directly onto the corset. Folding and sewing as I go along. The pattern that the scissors made also helped with measuring out the pleats, so I know exactly where to fold each time I do the pleat. Why was I sewing this while it was on the doll? I don't know, I just find it easier that way for me not to hit my fingers instead of the plastic on the doll. So it's a cautionary measure for my accident-prone fingers. I made a second layer by itself, which was easier than attaching that first layer. I just decided that the first layer was too boring, and adding a second layer really gave it a better fluffy design, like more dimension fabric wise. And I love me some fabric manipulation and dimension, so we had to put it. Now that that's attached, I did go over it with a different lace. Now I'm adding white and silver braided trim to the very top edge of the corset. I'm also leaving extra trim outside of the back seam so that it gives a bow effect, and also it will allow that person to add it Velcro or whatever they would like to make this a removable outfit. Do it upon request if somebody bought him and wanted that. Now that we attached that, I just feel like we need just a little bit more extra. So we're going to take these butterfly charms that are actually meant for nails, and we're going to sew them straight onto the corset on opposite sides. One as a brooch and one as a belt accessory, however you want to look at it. It just makes your dance around the garment a little more, and I like that, so that's why I added it. This translucent thread is really translucent, transparent, clear, whichever you want to call it. I've called it all three by now, I'm sure. I'm not, I don't always remember what it's considered, but I should know what I own, right? Okay, now that we have that sewn on, I wanted to make these little arm accessories just to give some more flow to the outfit because it's a little stiff right now. So I am using my model to do a little rough measuring to make sure I don't have an excess of fabric, but I also want to make sure that it's loose enough to get past the biceps. Then sewing that, I'm going to turn it inside out, check it a few times. I checked it several times. Few is not accurate. I checked this several times because I have a habit of making sleeves too tight around the arms once it's turned inside out, the right side out. So I'm trying to leave myself a gap for once instead of sewing as if everything's skin tight. So when it turned inside out, top stitch, also sealing all the edges with fabric fray. Once I got the ribbon attached, I got my heat adhesive gems in size 004 and added that to the rim. And we're going to add that to the rim of the arm cuffs. I'm going to use the very edge or crease of my slim flat iron and press it on like that, waiting about 20 to 30 seconds per gem. And then that accessory is done. Here, we're just going to put a rainbow blush. Here we're going to put a rainbow eyeshadow. And this is also where I decided I hated his blush. So I'm going to take it off. I tried many times to make it work, but I think I went too heavy on it. And I just wanted to be more subtle. So we're going to wipe the bottom half of his face completely. Okay, that's better. Now there's a subtle blushing instead of a massive blushing. Adding his eyebrows, matching it to his hair. Now let's start on outlining his actual eye shape. Using a teal watercolor pencils, we're going to start to draw in his eyes. I have gotten in the habit of using a combination of dry watercolor pencils and wet color pencils, along with some acrylic. I didn't realize this when I went back to his original color scheme as far as his eyes and his lips, with subtle changes, and of course a different style, because I'm not a Mattel printer or a Mattel artist. I started to line his eyes with green, but decided that his actual eyeliner and lashes should match the purple. I'm using a wet thin line brush to distribute some of the watercolor pencil directly onto the eyes, being very careful to take my time. Going back into the eye to darken all of the rim of the iris, making sure to create a gradient from dark to light from top to bottom. Adding back in the light now that I have a dark base for his eyes. Taking a wet fine line brush, I'm using the very tip of the purple watercolor pencil and applying it that way. Make sure that if you're enjoying this video to give me a like and subscribe. Click the bell notification so that you'll be notified every time I upload. If you're already subscribed to me, thank you so much. You guys are the awesome gang. Finishing out his eyes with a light glare. I decided that it wasn't enough. His eyes just needed something else, because the eyeshadow just felt like it was just floating there, like it was just slapped on. And that wasn't my intention. So I pulled it over to the edge of the face more, and then I also added these white clouds. Originally it was going to be a abstract fashion line, but it came out clumpy, and then I decided, I was like, you know what's better than rainbows and clouds? And that matches in the white from his outfit into his eyes, and then the rainbow accessories with the rainbow shadow. I said, yeah. That's where we're gonna go with that. So happy accidents. I made his nose jewelry off camera because I simply could not bend that fragile wire on such a tiny scale and also record quality video. So unfortunately had to miss out on that. But if I figure out how to do it without being out of frame off and on constantly, I will definitely show you guys on a different video. So this doll was very much inspired by one of the Instagram, well, they're not just Instagram, but social media content creator, Goddess Boys. I was inspired to make the partner to the previous goddess boy that I had made. The previous one has sold already and went to the happy home. Would it be nice if they stayed together and that customer bought this one? It would be so sweet. But like that goddess boy, I'm really a fan of his current obsession with finger wave flyaways, because it's not a whole finger wave head, so I'm guessing be a finger wave flyaway type of deal. I don't know. If you figure out what that particular hair design is called, you let me know. I just know that it's a finger wave technique. I'm not sure what they're called. Finger wave frills? Who knows? Saturating the hair with a lot of PVA glue and water, which is going to act as a gel for us to do the finger waves. Now, the ones that are touching the face, they don't need to be pinned down because they're kind of using the face in the Mr. Super Clear as a grip. But as far as the wet hair or gelled hair touching the dry hair, that we're going to put pins to keep in place while it dries. Using a wooden stick and my mini flat iron, we made some curls on the side that should stay in place because the hair was still wet, and I don't know what it is about wet yarn with instant heat, it just steams straight into place. So we're sanding and scraping any factory lines, harsh lines off. And then once that's prepped, we paint it all white and then buckle silver. And it wouldn't be Pride without the traditional flag representation. Taking a regular piece of printer paper, some school glue, and a toothpick. Technically a detailed swab, but we're gonna just call it a toothpick. It's the similarities. Making sure that it's glued all the way down to the tip, then taking each color of the rainbow as ribbon and gluing it to each side, cutting off the excess. But with that, we're all set. Let me know if there's any group of the LGBTQ plus group that you would like to see for next year. Feel free to leave any questions down in the comment section. If you want to do a custom order, contact me through my website or through social media. See you next time. Also, guys, I finally have a merch shop on my page, so be sure to check that out and let me know if there's anything you want to see as far as my doll content on merch. If there's a doll that you have seen that you want on a shirt, please do let me know because I got you. And I think that my boy came out wonderful. I absolutely adore femboys. They just, chef kisses. So all the femboys out there and all the people that are a fan of femboys, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much if you've already subscribed. It means the world to me. What's your favorite aesthetic that might not be popular with the masses? Let me know what your Pride plans are this year. Anybody going out? Feel free to put in the comments what you're doing this Pride. I know there's a bunch of fun and we love us a good time. So it's fun over here. If you already subscribed to me, thank you so much. You guys are the awesome gang. And with that, this doll, my contribution is done. Make sure you go and check out the other artists because they did amazing. Be sure to check out my website, my Etsy, my Instagram, my Facebook, and my TikTok. Thank you for watching my whole video. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and like and click the bell for the notifications. All of my dolls for sale can be found on my Etsy, which is also linked in each video and in my bio. Be sure to check me out on all social medias. See you next time. Bye.